So, YouTube Nation, the Lindenhurst swap meets have started up again for the rest of this year, and I couldn't I couldn't be more happier to have attended. The stars aligned themselves once again, and I made out with quite the haul. Cue the intro. So, um, earlier in September, the Lindenhurst swap meets have kickstarted the show with new vendors, new merchandise, um, and my favorite vendors, of course. And I made out pretty good. Stayed within my guardrails. Otherwise, we all know what would happen. And so, without further ado, let's see what I got. So, I am saving the best for last because it is an interesting haul. So, from a vendor that I know, I forget what his name was. I didn't get what his name was. He had a set of four Bachmann passenger cars in the Norfolk and Western Powhatan Arrow livery. Now, anyone who's out there who has the same set of passenger cars will know that these cars were not made by Bachmann. They may have been sold by Bachmann. It may come in a Bachmann box. However, yeah, a couple of the boxes, the plastic covering is a little bit beat up, but there's nothing a little Scotch tape won't help. I'm going to hold it to you as close as I can. Hopefully the lighting will help. You will see that these cars are Riverossis. All of the cars are Riverossis in Bachmann boxes, sold by Bachmann. I have a couple other Powhatan Arrow Bachmann cars that were also made by Riverossi that I acquired some time back, but this would be perfect for my Class J locomotive. So that's going to be a sight to see. And if in case you're wondering how much I got for this entire set, the vendor listed the 4-car set as $40. I got the whole set for $30, which means $750 US per car. What a bargain. So we have that. Moving right along. From my friend Tony, who is a subscriber to the channel, I picked up this caboose. I think it's called wide vision caboose. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Bay window caboose in B&O livery. It's in perfect shape. The couplers are there. One of the couplers came a little bit loose, but the coupler is here in the box. So I'll put that together. There are no windows per se, but Tony said that if you pick up um, Micro Glaze by the Microset and Microsol people, you could easily make replacement windows. He told me that all you need is a toothpick and you just go around and it comes out milky at first, and then when it dries it becomes instant window. So I'll have to look into that, and I'll also have to see about fixing that coupler. So we have that. And Tony, thank you very much. He was selling this for $10. Whoopee. He was selling this for $10. He let me have this for $8. Thank you. So now, for my good friend Jerry, and Jerry has a store in Franklin Square, New York. He also has a Facebook page, which I'll be putting into this video. It's a store in Franklin Square, which is in Nassau County, New York. Okay, penguins, march along. He also has an eBay store. I'll list that as well. But he told me when the Lindenhurst shows were on break that he made a massive haul of all HO scale items, rolling stock, locomotives, accessories, whatever he had there. He said he and his partner John said this was only the tip of the iceberg, but nevertheless, let's see what I got from Jerry. First up is a Model Power E9 locomotive in the Amtrak livery. What else did I get from Jerry? Oh yeah, this. Oopie. So, it is a little bit loosey-goosey. So, this is an Atlas Jeep, which must have shifted in the shipping. The handrails are a little bit loose. Ran well on the test track. I am going to have to put her back together. But ran well on the test track. The front stanchions were loose. I'll have to put that together. The fan on the rear was also missing, the fan grill, but in the box was another was a fan grill cover. I doubt if it's the same one because it's not red, but we'll see if we can adapt it for our purposes. What I also got from Jerry was this item. This was on my wish list for the longest time. This is an Atlas Jeep 40. in s- wonder where that sunshade came from. Not here. An Atlas Jeep 40 in Amtrak Phase 3 livery. Um, this had been on my wish list for the longest time. There was an eBay seller ages ago who was selling the Bachmann Jeep 40 in the same livery. Pounced on it, paid it, everything. Been waited a few days for the shipping information, and then I reached out to the seller, which happened to be a brick and mortar store, and I said, "Where's the shipping information? I bought for it, paid for it. Where's the tracking number?" They said, "Oh, we sold that in the store, and we forgot to update our eBay store." And it's like, you guys, you took my money. If you sold it and give me my money back, which they did, but I'll never buy from them again. Persona non grata. So, but the Jeep 40 didn't run on the test track. She lit up, but she wouldn't run. And it was too noisy for me at the swap meet to hear a motor hum. But one thing that John had mentioned was that some of these locomotives were wired for sound. And among the, the locomotives that were sale, I saw DCC decoders, I saw DCC circuit boards, so it has my wheels turning. Were these things wired for DCC? So I have to investigate. The E9 didn't run. It didn't light up. It didn't move forward or backward. It was too loud at the spot meet to listen for the motor hum. So we have to see about that. So for these two, I guess the CP rail's another Jeep 40. I'll have to look that up. So for the two Jeep 40s and the E9, $55. That's right, folks. $18 and change per locomotive for these three locomotives. Hand to God. And if I'm lying, may God strike me down. Also, I circled back to Jerry. An Athearn ready to run SD60 in the demonstrator livery. Yeah, the plastic stanchions are not all there. This was the only stanchion there, and the stanchions keep coming out. I am not a big fan of the plastic stanchions because they're fragile, they're cheap looking, they're not as sturdy as the metal stanchions and railings that were on earlier Athearn locomotives. Once you stuck a metal stanchion in there, it just worked. But this, if you so much as sneeze or look at it at a bad way, it just comes out of the housing. So maybe I'll look into getting the replacement stanchions for the front and rear, and for the engineer side. But this was also on my radar. It didn't run on the test track. And the test track that they have there is the Bachmann steel alloy easy track, which isn't the best in the world. Sorry, not sorry. Steel alloy tracks by Bachmann oxidize easy. If you want tracks, go with nickel silver. Um, there was a funny crackling sound that came out of the locomotive when I did put in the test track, so I'm gonna have to crack her open and investigate. I got her for $20. And what I also got from Jerry were two Kato double-decker coaches, and both coaches both coaches have the cab end. Uh, what I didn't, what I thought was peculiar was that both coaches um, had this weird on-off thing over here, right around here. I'm like, what's that for? So when I dug up the information on HO Seeker, turns out it has to do with the lighting. If I'm mistaken, you can tell me that I'm mistaken, but uh, there was a third Kato passenger coach that was just regular. That was just a coach end on both ends, but the diaphragm part was missing. So let some let someone let someone else get that one. But these coaches were $5 each. I'm not kidding. These are absolute bargains. So, I am going to be testing these, and if necessary, repairing them. I am a very happy camper with these purchases. These are going to be projects. I am going to be I guess since the CP rail came undone first, that's going to be the first one to look into. I do want to go to the Amtrak one first, because I'm not certain if any of these were made for were programmed for DCC. I do, as you know, I do have two main lines that are DCCEX. So I'm just going to speak with the DCCEX. No, I'm not. I'm going to be speaking with. I'm going to go onto Engine Driver and program it for DC. Set it to DCC to see if I get anything out of these. So here we have the Atlas GP38 in the CP Rail livery. Now, as you can recall, when I showed it to you, that it was all loosey-goosey. As it turns out, the reason why it was so loosey-goosey was because the walkway is held in place with with the couplers that you have to screw in on each end. The front coupler was missing. Fortunately, I I used a Katie coupler box, and I put in a 148, or did I use a number 5? I can't recall. And I found a suitable size screw that in place, put the shell in place, And unfortunately, this fan grill cover that I brought home from the swap meet that I thought was a suitable replacement wasn't a suitable replacement. So that has to go the way. So I'm going to have to find a suitable replacement for that. So let's move that along. Next, we have the model power. Whoopee! Back it up a bit. There we are. The model power E8, E9. Now, the good thing about these model powers is that they are built with the Roco motors. The Roco cam motors, I can't help but praise them from the mountaintop because they are such robust workers, and it really gives the locomotive that oomph that it needs, especially. And what helps it, of course, is that it's a metal frame. So the weight of the metal frame coupled with the Roco motor, you get a great worker out of this. Now, the problem with why it wasn't working is because the thing about these particular Roco motors is that on the engineer side, there's this thin steel wire that has to meet the metal frame of the locomotive, and the motor itself has to be seated in such a way that this wire has to meet with it in order to get forward and reverse momentum, power, the direction, so that it can move forward and backward, folks. Now, my one gripe against these model power locomotives is that they use these chintzy, flimsy plastic clips to hold the motor in place. They're not that all great. They're not that all effective. So I've had to remove the fuel tank and wrap electrical tape around the motor so that where it's seated, that steel wire meets the frame, and it works pretty good. So this clip, get rid of that. The headlight wasn't that all great, so sometime down the line, when I paint these black, I'm going to put an LED where this headlight is, and we'll get that running. So we have that one. Now, the object of my one of my wish list items, the Atlas Jeep 40 in the Amtrak Phase 3 livery. I opened her up, cracked her open, and I checked the motor. The motor ran. I took leads to the motor. The motor runs. And I went to one of my Facebook groups with everything exposed, with everything, so that it's all the innards could be seen on the Atlas Facebook group. And I said, why I said in so many words, why can't I get this thing to run? So several people were kind enough to respond that the locomotive is DCC ready, but the blanking chip on the circuit board was seated in a position for DCC ready operations. And if you were to change the seating of the blanking chip back one notch and towards the long hood end, you could run it in analog operations. So, one of the Facebook responders was kind enough to send me diagrams of how the Atlas blanking chip works. The whole schematic. It was like 4 pages, but like 2 pages to each sheet. So I took these folks' advice, moved the blanking chip, and we got us a running locomotive. Gorgeous. So now we have this one. I cracked open the shell, and inside I found a DCC decoder attached. And there was also a speaker in there. And I just put everything back in. This has been very predictable. I couldn't get it to work at first. Fortunately, these two main lines over here and here are DCC-EX, so I went into DCC-EX, went into programming mode to read the decoder. The decoder is a model rectifier corporation. It gave a CV of 143, which meant that it was a model rectifier corporation. I've had to pour through a lot of model railroader forums to figure out how to reset the decoder, because the locomotive value that it was given was 1111, not locomotive 3, 1111. So I stuck with it, but I read how to reset the decoder, and one thing led to another, and I got this thing moving. Good, not great. She stammers. I can't get this. There is a speaker in there. There is a lot of things in here. There are a couple things in here too. That's the only sound I can get it to make. I can't get it. I am at a loss as far as how to get all the sounds working the way that they should, because right now, if you listen closely, there's like a buzzing sound. Much the same way that if you have DC trains and the main lines are set for DCC, you're going to hear that buzzing sound. Fortunately enough, the front headlight works. Can't get the rear headlight to work for whatever reason. I might just look up where to get the blanking plug to remove the decoder from this locomotive, to remove all the sounds from it, turn the light off, and just put it back to just DCC ready. If you want to, if I wind up selling it, I'll just say, if you want to put sound in there, go right on ahead. If you want to set it for DCC, go right on ahead. But this is my first DCC enabled locomotive. Is it the first of many? I don't know. I'm not on the DCC bandwagon. The fact that I have a DCC enabled locomotive for such a low cost is a win in and of itself. But time will tell. So we have that. Well, these guys are running pretty nicely. Both the CP rail locomotive and, where are you, fella? Picking up the rear. The Amtrak Jeep 40 are running on speed step 64, which seems to be a pretty good speed. Although I have no inkling what speed steps are. They're running at a pretty decent velocity. The E8, I still have to put in a headlight, is running on 50% throttle, and current draw isn't that all bad. Of course, the SD60, I am sidelining. Now, in between the last part and now, I removed the sound. I removed the speaker and its little component because I just couldn't stand that buzzing sound. And if I can't get the sounds to work properly, then I may as well just remove it. So it is running, but it's still stammering. So until I can figure out how I can get this thing to run proper without stammering, she's sidelined. Now, I've taken a look at other YouTube videos of RTR locomotives. The 8-pin blanking chip, not the 9-pin blanking chip, should have been there, and it's not there, which means I can't fully blank out the DCC functions, because what good is the 9-pin blanking chip without the 8-pin blanking chip? So I'm gonna have to locate that, and it sounds like hold on. Yeah, what you just saw was a derailment. All right, you got me. But I'm a happy camper. These guys are running pretty good, but I still have to put a headlight in here. This one's running pretty nice. I am intrigued by the Kato double-deckers. I'm gonna have to find one or two others, like the non-cab cars, because both of them are cab cars. So I'm gonna have to locate the non-cab car sections. Are you gonna behave? Thank you. So, with that being said, I want to thank my subscribers for the continued support. If you are not a subscriber, there is a link in the bottom right-hand corner. Please like and share. And, as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.